Mr. Yason.
What's up?
So what are we about to do to this car?
We are going to install a short ram / cold air intake. Technically a short ram, but it does have the heat shield, which kind of makes it a cold air. Technically a short ram.
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
So we're gonna pop open the hood and we're gonna open up the little present. We'll check them out right now. Of course, can't show you the name of where it's from or where it's being shipped to. Ooh. That is nice. Thank you.
Parts, instruction manuals, of course.
Heat shield.
Heat shield. Boxes, paper, typical stuff you find with performance stuff.
Here's another little...
Yay, big box, little box.
Well,
it's a box within a box.
Always cut away from yourself, children.
Always.
Always cut away from yourself.
Unless you're like me, then you cut towards yourself and you get your throat and then you die. Yeah.
Drum roll, please.
Ooh, it's a filter.
We'll clean that up. It's actually a lot different than mine. Because this is mine right now, what I have. This is going to be put on. Well, that's one thing.
All of it's going to go in there.
But this is going to go in there as well. All the tubing and such. And of course, heat shield.
So what we're doing today is we are going to be replacing everything from about here all the way to here, which is going to free up a lot of airflow and hopefully give us a little power increase.
Make it sound better!
That too. So now that we got everything opened up and out of the box, we're going to have to open up the packages and check for any damages, missing parts, and make sure that we have everything we need to get this install started. So we've gone through, we've inspected everything, inspected the filter for damage. We've inspected all of our rings for any possible rust, ensured all our parts are included in the kit. And now, we got ourselves a nice big hose, ladies and gentlemen. Now we're gonna go through and actually get started on this. First thing we should do is review all the instructions to make sure we are competent and able to handle what we're about to do. We have our instructions here. High Performance Products, and we get some stickers.
Keeping those, my stickers.
That's cool, you keep them. So, you good? We're going?
Yeah, we're going.
We've been
going. We've been going for like 13 seconds.
Wow, all right, well, cool. We are doing the HPS Performance Products, Performance Short Ram Intake. This is for the 2012, 2013 Mazda 3 2-liter. Not your turbo Mazda 3, just Mazda 3.
Sad day.
Sad day. All of our different parts that we have, we are going over your intake pipe, filter, heat shield, couplers, T-bolt clamps, hose clamps.
Intake bracket.
Yep, all good, all this good stuff. Different things. If you're missing parts, what you can do to get your parts.
Contact them directly.
Yes.
Nice.
Not where you bought it. Okay.
I bought it from them. Directly from them.
Well, sometimes they sell them on Amazon and shit.
That is true. Hey, we're a family-friendly channel.
Not always safe for children, though.
Touche. Not safe for work either.
Please read all instructions carefully before installation. We're going to skip this boring part for you guys, so we'll go over all this and then we'll get back to you.
So I accidentally opened this and never actually closed it before I opened the engine bay. And, well, I happened to buy this when I first got the car. So,
always wear gloves when you're doing maintenance work, ladies and gentlemen. Always wear gloves. Your hands are going to get really, 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 really dirty.
yeah, I wear large, but those are medium. They
That's
fit
fine.
very tight, which is fine because you want to feel what you're doing. Thank you.
So now that we got our rubber hand condoms, we're good to go. All right, so we've got our engine cover off, which is step 2. Step 1 is to let the engine cool down. We forgot to disconnect the battery. The reason you disconnect the battery is A, you don't want to be giving yourself any electrical unnecessary shocks because these are pretty powerful batteries and can do some pretty serious damage. And number 2, it's going to erase all your pre-programmed fuel delivery and whatnot nonsense stuff. And we want to make sure we're giving this, when the fuel comes back online and the computer delivers the fuel and figures out how much fuel it needs to deliver, we want to make sure we're giving the most amount of airflow for it to figure out and all that good jazz. So your battery is going to be a 10mm bolt. Make sure you find the negative, and you can tell here's positive, there's negative. Boom, easy stuff. Sometimes you'll have a red wire and a black wire. This one's just the black wire going in. Black will always be negative.
See, look, there's the positive, negatives, yep, right there.
And now that we've got that done, we just pull this off. Woo!
Boom, done.
All right,
No more power.
no more power to the battery. Set that off to the side. Don't let it touch.
No touchy.
No touch.
Kind of like
Emperor Cusco.
Emperor Cusco.
No touchy.
No touchy.
No touchy.
Organized tools are important. Especially, always make sure to close everything. Close everything.
Close and lock everything.
Close and lock everything.
Okay.
Because some people make that mistake.
And then tools fall all over the floor and you spend 25 minutes putting them back.
Well, we don't talk about that.
So step 3, what we're going to do here is we have to disconnect these 2 clips and disconnect the MAF sensor. This will allow us to remove the air box and the filter inside. All right, we've got our clips out, and our next is to disconnect the MAF sensor. There we go. Now we are no longer connected for fuel delivery.
Yay.
As far as airflow, we are no longer connected for airflow.
Step 4? Where's that step?
Step 4.
Oh, we just did that. Unclip the harness from the MAF
Unclip
sensor.
the harness from the MAF sensor. Boom.
Step 5.
Step 5 is to unscrew the hose clamp at the throttle body. Boom. That's going to be a Phillips screwdriver. Okay. Good? Or are we still going?
We're still going.
Still going. So our throttle body connector clamp is disconnected. And unclip the coolant hose from the intake hose. Then disconnect the air inlet hose from the throttle body. And this is always going to be a more difficult part. We might actually have to loosen this up more. All right, next page. We're going to remove the breather hose from the valve cover. Can't read. Here. Yep, it's this one right here. Ah. Okay. Don't worry about that noise. It's going to happen a lot doing this kind of stuff.
Especially because this car is how old? 8 years old?
Imagine it being 15 years old.
Got it.
Right, now we're going to carefully remove the air box. All right, you know what? Let's do this a little bit easier. Let's undo these. Let's take this off. Yeah, there's our cover.
Ugh, gross.
Yeah. They're not bolted in. It's just getting them up. There it goes, it's going. There it goes. Oh, we need to get.
There it is.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
So this is the factory air box. As you can see, air goes in here, and you can see this giant hole down here. That's to let any water out in case you actually get massive amounts of water going in through this hole. You don't want it going into your engine. There's also a hole right here. If any water should make it past this giant hole, it's going to drip out through there. Air is then sucked up from the bottom. Through the air filter and then into the engine bay. Now, as you can see, we've got our factory air box removed and we have a ton of space in here. We still have the original factory air inlet because it's going to bring cold air right here where the air filter sits. This is relative to the temperature of the engine bay. Of course, standing out here, 95 degrees, it's hot. But when you're talking 200 degrees in your engine bay, 95 degrees outside your engine bay, this small amount of 95 degree air is going to be much cooler than 200 degree. Another little hint for you ladies and gentlemen, always wear closed-toed shoes when you're working on cars, not dad sandals like these. We have removed all the factory components of the air intake to the throttle body. Couple safety things they do not tell you about. Never, ever, ever touch your throttle body plate, which is inside the throttle body. You can't see it from that angle. Never touch the throttle body plate. This is all computer, electronic, monitored. Touching that can throw it off and severely F up your performance of your vehicle, and you're going to need a new throttle body afterwards. We need to install the provided silicone coupler and T-bolt clamps to the throttle body. Ooh. Properly labeled with the load label.
So right there.
Should be another, is this a 10 millimeter? Let's find out. Hi there. This is a 10 millimeter, and we'll just start by cranking it by hand. This has actually got a locking nut on it, which has...
For the boys and girls at home, what does a locking nut mean?
That's what I'm about to tell you.
Okay, continue.
A locking nut is has some kind of silicone or something on the threads. I don't know exactly what it is, but it prevents it from being loosened unintentionally. And that also means that you're going to have a much more difficult time cranking it down by hand. Okay. Does not give us any torque specs on this, so we just want to make sure it's good and tight, and it is not coming off. Now we can move on to the next step.
Yay!
Now we are installing our rubber mount vibration dampener to prevent the intake from flopping around when we're driving the car. Okay. Install the heat shield onto the air filter. We have our air filter.
Oh gosh.
All right. We don't need this guy yet. We need that guy. Okay. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, installing parts is a process of discovery.
It's hot. Leave me alone.
Okay. This looks like it is going to be a 14 or 15. Let's try our 14. Our 14 is too big. It must be a 12. Because I am a dum-dum. There we go. John, your hand, please. Thank you, kind sir.
You're welcome, kind sir.
Okay. Next, we are installing the air straightener, as they call it. The whole purpose of this device, as they say, is to straighten the flow of air as it proceeds over the mass airflow sensor. So, air straightener, followed by the air filter. We don't want to tighten the air filter down because when we get it in, we want to make sure that the air filter and the heat shield are facing the right ways so the logo is readable and the shield is blocking as much heat as possible. Even though it's a tiny little heat shield, but still.
Still a heat shield, sir.
It is still a heat shield and it will still block some heat. Always remember, folks, bring plenty of tools because these instructions are laid out in a way purposely designed to frustrate you with changing tools consistently.
From a 10 to a 10 to a 12.
From a Phillips to a flathead.
So much fun. So much fun.
Okay. Now that we have our air filter on, we have our heat shield on. The one thing we have not done yet is crank down this clamp because once we get it in, we want to adjust the heat shield. There's another clamp over there we need. That clamp
might be too small.
It's gonna sit right there.
Is it too small?
Nope, it's perfect. It's gonna sit just like that. And now we're gonna cram this baby in there. Okay. And we're gonna do the same thing again.
But that's an 8.
Yes, we need a 10. Remember, boys and girls, always be prepared to change sockets, sleeves for your nuts. You wanna give me a hand here? Just hold this in. Perfect.
Thank you. You're welcome. What's are you laughing about? No, we just had this busy, so I can't. So we're gonna sit here and just watch and watch. Turn. I'm turning on your. Well, I can easily cut this out. I'm turning on your nuts. Very easy. Very easy. Do you like it when I turn on your nuts? It's very easy. I'll speed this up.
All right, let's see. Is that nice and tight? That is nice and tight. We are not going anywhere with that. Some installing of nuts and bolts in areas we cannot see.
Goody.
This is our bracket, which is going to prevent vibration. As you can see down here, this moves quite a bit. Even though it's nice and tight down, it still moves quite a bit. We don't want it to move that much. So right here is that rubber clamp we had. And underneath here, underneath here is where it is going to attach to the air filter. I think what we need to do though is we need to drop that down there and lose it forever.
No.
We've come across an unexpected complication. I have dropped something down into the engine bay. Luckily, I have a magnetic grabber. The only question is where did it drop to? And voila! Magnetic grabber grabs metal pieces.
You know, BT should have had that.
Yeah. Taylor Swift could have had this. Could have done a lot of good for him. But you know, Taylor Swift. I am just gonna loosen this up because it's a real tight fit. And I don't like how it's fitting, so this way we can get all our parts in and fit properly and easily. Do you have the, can I put those in my pocket maybe? Yes, those guys. So, here we go. We're going to start by making sure we don't drop the bracket and bolt the bracket to the rubber mount. As long as I don't drop the nut. Like I said, I can't see what I am doing here because my hands are not see-through. All right, it's on.
What
Now,
is this?
I'm dripping shit. Sweat.
That's not sweat.
No, that's not sweat. That looks like bird shit.
Oh, she's getting another clean through anyway, so.
Okay, I need a smaller tin. So, after dropping nuts and bolts now twice, I've decided to take the intake off and attach the bracket to it. Then I'm going to put it back on with it nice and loose and get it back onto the vibration mount bracket thingy McDougler. So now we've got it on, we've got it mounted there. So now it's just not dropping the nuts, bolts, and washers again as I put them on. But now everything is in place.
After a quick
Reset.
propel and conk
Yeah.
break. Now, Jason, where did you get this wonderful shirt?
This wonderful shirt is not all that wonderful, but I got it from being in the United States Air Force, part of the 305th Aerial Port Squadron.
Oh!
Before I retired,
20 years, baby.
20 years, 13 days. 13 days.
You've been counting.
November 17th, 1999, 1 December 2020.
Oh, yeah, man.
I need a smaller one because I need to find a medium one.
A medium one. Like this?
The problem with this one is that I can't get the ratchet past here. So this one isn't going to work either. More fun and problems. So let's just find our 10 mil right here.
And these will go back. Boom, done.
I'm going to do it on that one there. Again, I can't see what I'm doing.
But you can feel it though, right?
I can feel it. Yes, I can. Hi.
Excuse me.
Yeah, you think so?
I burped.
I farted. Excuse me. Remember, kids, have a healthy diet.
Do with that lens flare. I'm always a sucker for lens flares.
Is that why you're getting my butt?
Well, no, but sure. If that's what makes you feel good.
Ah, there we go. Nice and tight. Now, let's find our bolt underneath. All right, and now we have our anti-vibrations set in, and we can crank this guy down again.
Is that a 10 or an 8?
This is a 10.
Modern problems require modern solutions. In this case, taking out the short ram intake, screwing in the actual bracket, screwing it in here, and then retightening this down.
And now I need a longer one because those threads are too long on this T-bolt clamp.
What are you doing here?
We are installing the air breather hose. This allows for air bypass. Naturally, with most car engines, air, oil, and all that good stuff is going to bypass the cylinders and go into the crankcase, which is going to build up pressure within the crankcase. Your PCV valve, which looks like it is right here, is then going to open up and allow pressure to ventilate from the crankcase back in to your valve cover and using the breather hose back into the intake. So you are recycling air and not building pressure into your crankcase, causing your crankcase to explode. That would be bad.
Very bad.
Yes, sir. Okay, I did that wrong. Okay, hose clamp. All right, we got our breather valve on, our breather hose, not our breather valve, our breather hose on. And now we're just gonna crank it down. Maybe we should have cranked it down a little bit first because it's gonna be a while. Hi. As we said before, make sure you're prepared to constantly change sizes because we found this is a third different nut size.
7.
Yeah, 7.
Yeah.
We've come to another unfortunate situation where the installation instructions do not properly include taking it apart. This should have come out a long time ago, and all it says is to transfer it now, step what?
15?
12 of 15.
12
It
of
says
15?
yeah,
Oh,
12.
okay.
12 of 15. It says to transfer from here to there. So now we got to try to hold this thing down and get these loose, and I guarantee these are going to be a pain in the butt to get loose.
Facts.
Okay, well, now we have our MAP sensor out.
Not as bad as we thought.
Not as bad as we thought, but we want to inspect it looking for damage, looking for any loose dirt that might be clinging to the surfaces. If so, we're going to have to clean it off with mass airflow sensor cleaner. We do not have any of those issues, so we're fine. This is going to just slide right in here. Make sure we line up our bolts properly, our bolt holes properly. And we want to make sure it's angled the same direction the previous one was. That way our clip will fit on properly. We have our little tiny bolts, and once again, these are going to be a different tool. So now we need Allen keys.
Oh, jeez.
Plenty of Allen keys. I think it's going to be this guy right here. Oh no!
That I did not see it that way.
Right here.
Wow, the guy with terrible eyesight.
I just had a drip fall out of my tear, and I thought it was one of the bolts. Ooh, too small. Hi. After much searching and looking, we finally found the right size Allen key. Thank you, HPS, for actually providing the size of the Allen key required. An actual Allen key would have been nice, but thank you for providing the size. This guy just does show it like that. Okay, that's good, that's good. I would like to see this go routed underneath. If you do that, you can't see the HPS, but it does hold it in place better. Okay, so our last step is to reconnect our mass airflow sensor. And we are done with our installation. It's a pretty simple installation. It's taken quite a bit of going outside the box, thinking outside the box. But we got everything on. Everything is nice and tight. Oh, no, we forgot one. We didn't tighten this guy down yet. We waited till last to make sure we could have everything properly set. 10. Thank you, kind sir.
Squirrel! That's a long long tail.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's an 8, not a 10.
Failed me.
Failed.
You failed me.
Failed.
Well, then again, we should have remembered.
We should have. We could lay out our tools, the ones we're going to need, but this doesn't tell us what sizes we're going to need. It didn't give us that. The only one it gave us was the size we would need for the 10mm bolt, or the 4mm Allen key.
Did it really?
Yeah, that was it. Right here. 4mm bolts.
Ah. Looky.
Okay.
Well, it did say that it wasn't for any novice.
Correct, but at the same time, though, a novice doesn't mean that you don't have tools. A novice means that you don't really know what you're doing. That's why we're providing this video for you guys to help understand what you might need to do in the future. Now,
I am not doing that again.
as you can see, we have everything nice and tight. Our heat shield is tight. It's on there. It's not coming off. Our intake pipe does not move. Our bracket down here does not move. Everything's nice and tight. We've tightened everything down. There are no torque specs on this. So what we tightened it to is just tight enough to hold it in place. What we are going to do now is we are going to reattach our battery.
Or do you want to do that first and then?
I want to reattach the battery, listen to the engine before we put the cover back on. Because the engine cover is going to change the sound you hear coming from the engine. Because remember, your sound is all in here. If you put something on top, you're going to baffle the sound. All right, are we ready for this one? This is a 10mm bolt again,
Which
hopefully you don't have any shorts, and we're gonna have a little spark.
We do not have. I shouldn't have any shorts.
Have you disconnected the battery since you bought the car?
No.
All right.
And
Just hoping everything was proper. I've seen that happen where you disconnect the battery, reconnect the battery, and it doesn't start anymore.
10.
Now we're going to reconnect our battery. And we're going to use our 10. I could use the smaller one. Smaller 10, please. It's too long.
Problems you don't normally have.
Remember, this is supposed to be kid-friendly.
Ah, I said family friendly.
True. All right, we're good and tight. Let's put our battery cover back on. Where is our battery cover at? Where did you put your battery cover?
Where did I put my battery cover?
Where did we put your battery cover?
I put my battery cover in the front driver's seat,
Aha!
which should be unlocked.
It is unlocked.
Yeah, I know I need to get it cleaned inside. It's pretty dirty.
Do I have this on the wrong way? No, I do not. It goes this way. Everything good to go? Were you not recording?
No.
See what happens, ladies and gentlemen, when you're not on
when
time with each other?
when someone doesn't speak, well, they just want to go off the cuff.
Ooh, like we had a script planned. Listen to Mr. John over here. Okay, so we have everything buttoned back up. We have all of our bolts. Everything is tightened down. All of our connections are made properly. We connected our battery. Our breather hose is on. Our transmission cooling line is back running the way the direction it's supposed to be running with no kinks. Let's go ahead and fire it up and see how it sounds. I was going to put my tools away while he was firing up the car, but instead we're going to have him fire up the car. Then I'll put my tools away.
Ready?
Okay, let me see. Show you how this is done. Take that.
I'm sorry. I just got the freaking car. Don't blow up my engine. What's the RPMs at?
I got just over 5.
Ignore that. What was that?
That sounds better. You can hear the intake.
HD.
So we have found out a couple interesting things that neither one of us knew. First and foremost, his phone records in 4K. And
So
we
does
have not been
yours.
doing that. Mine does too, but we're not talking about my phone because my phone's not recording.
Well, your phone is the same phone as my phone.
But my phone is not recording. Your phone is recording. We have 2 steps left. First is to reinstall our engine cover. These are purely for looks, nothing else. They do not add any benefit to the motor whatsoever. So if you choose to install these, that is up to you. This is not a required step. This looks much better with an engine cover on. So as I clean up my tools now, let's recap what we've done today. First, we have removed a big, bulky, heavy intake system, air intake system, which is replaced by a much lighter, much straighter airflow air intake system, which is going to provide a larger volume of air. Not super large. It's not going outside what the car can handle, but it is still a larger volume of air. This should put more air into the cylinders, requiring more fuel, which will give us a little more power, hopefully. Only way to confirm that is to put it on a dyno, something we're not going to be doing today, this week, or even this month.
Probably not even this year.
Probably not. Other things that we have found with this system is that by installing this intake, we are giving a much more aggressive sound to the engine, where you can actually hear the air being sucked into the engine. The factory box has a lot of baffles, which lower that sound, get rid of a lot of that every time you step on the gas. So with all these that we have eliminated and improved upon, we should A, see a rise in power, and B, a possible, however modest, increase in fuel economy too. This is not 100%, but possible. All right. We have an additional clamp that I want to make sure we did not miss, because it is an HPS clamp, but I know what this clamp was for. If you had the cold air intake where it went down into the wheel well, this clamp would hold onto the filter down there, because you'd have another pipe. But we don't have that.
But it's okay. We can keep it for the next one.
But we're not done yet.
No.
No, we still need to take it out for a test drive.
We do.
All right, John, now that we're ready to go for a little ride, don't mind the steering wheel as he's been doing some stuff.
Just I don't know, man. I don't know.
So, let's recap some of our necessary procedures. A, safety, gloves. B, closed-toed shoes. Luckily, I still have all 10 toes.
What did you have it at? Base?
Base was up at 6.
Treble?
Treble was up at 6.
6 as well?
Yes.
Are you sure?
I think so. I'm pretty sure.
No, it wasn't at 6.
Well, let's give it a shot and let's listen and see how it sounds.
My phone. What's a good song?
A good song. Let's
go back to what we had it at.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I am looking over your car.
Why?
Because this is an absolutely beautiful interior
How
for
about
this
this?
car.
Very good song. Very good
Okay.
tune.
All right. Now that we've got it all installed, we're going to go take it for its first test drive.
Oh, there's our buddy.
And there's one of our buddies with his doggy.
And no, YouTube, I'm not getting any monetary stuff.
No, there is no sponsorship at all. We just wanted to thank HPS because they sent us very quickly
Hold on.
this intake. Now remember, everything was reset when you disconnected the negative battery cable. So your fuel data has to reprogram itself based on the mass airflow sensor. So that may take a little while. However, once we get going, we'll find out if you can feel a little more power or not. Your butt dyno is always going to have the placebo effect.
I think I can feel
Remember,
the go.
your butt dyno is always going to feel like it has more power. But you can hear that change. You hear that rumble? You like that? Under load, it sounds so much better. once we get out on the road, give it a little more RPMs.
So
Sitting here.
I got this GoPro because Outcast Car Club. Hey! I'm gonna be the back. What do you call that? The caboose.
He's our caboose. When we go out to shows and whatnot, he's our caboose and just kind of films all the car. He's our caboose. Our caboose.
So I'll be recording everything and making sure all of this sounds and looks clean. I'm gonna get 2 more, or maybe 3 more, eventually.
Ooh.
What's that?
That is a
G35S.
G35S, but those tailpipes.
Oh, can't see it.
And he wants to give us a little rev because we got the camera out. So are you noticing any difference? Big difference?
Huge difference. Pickup and go is much better. The downshift feels much cleaner too.
Remember, everything about your car is gonna have to reset. So you may notice what feels like an exponential power gain right now, but once your fuel parameters reset, it might be a little different.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. Enjoy it while it is now.
Uh-huh.
My average fuel economy is 11.7.
That's just because of what you've been doing right now and because you just reset it, so. Sounds better. Oh man, that sounds so much better. It growls more. Now wait till you get a full cat back on here. All right. All right, John, now that you're going along and you've had some time to get some miles under the car, since you reset the battery and put this intake in, how does it feel? Give me your thoughts.
I definitely feel like I've already felt, when I first got the car, I felt like I've had control over it better than my Cobalt. And just having the actual sound to go along with the speed gives me more of a speed feeling. Giving me more that I belong with the club. That I belong with the Nissan Altima. That I belong with the Pontiac, Solaris? Solstice. That I belong with the Eclipse Spider Edition. That's my thought process.
Just remember though, we started our car club not so you could belong. It's not about belonging. It's because you are an enthusiast.
I'm still learning.
You are still learning, but an enthusiast doesn't mean that you know everything.
No.
So,
and I'm okay with it. I like learning. I like knowing.
Here's my question. All these modifications always have a feeling of connection. Things feel more in tune. Do you feel like you have more control over the car? Not control, I'm sorry, let me rephrase it. Do you feel like you are more connected with the car than you did before the intake?
Yes.
Do you feel a difference in your throttle response when you step on the gas? Immediately. There's no delay anymore.
Even less delay.
Less delay, yeah, there's less delay. But the delay isn't as large as it used to be.
No, by
a lot.
2-fold, 3-fold, at least. When I first got the car, I already felt like I had a very good connection with the car. I had more control. Like I said, having more control is something that I needed desperately.
When you have your standard everyday automatic transmission, put it in drive and go, this is where I feel a lot of people fall asleep behind the wheel because there's no there's no connection to the car. There's no feeling of enjoyment. Not enjoyment, that's the wrong word. There's no feeling of connection. The only thing there is get in and go. You might as well be in a taxi cab, but you're just holding the wheel. Now that you have your manual mode on your automatic, there's a little bit more of a feel of control, connection. You're more in tune with the road.
I definitely feel that when Jason over here first introduced the manual mode, I was a little skeptical at first. I'm not gonna lie. I was very, is this really worth it? Am I really gonna use this? But at that point in time, it's, wow, holy cow. I feel more in tune. I feel, I guess, alive. I feel more connected with the vehicle, as Jason said.
It's a fun feeling. It's a great feeling, and I think if you were to have a manual transmission, you would feel much better.
Ooh, very good song from a very good band.
Mm-hmm.
Seven Dust. If you ever get a chance to listen to Seven Dust,
If you haven't already.
If you haven't already, but oh, my love for
the feeling of being in tune with the road, the feeling of being connected to the road, it's something that all enthusiasts chase, and you can only improve upon it.
Even if you're just looking for looks, having a performance part is going to give you that much better. Like, okay, it's going to, from what all the research I've been doing, what bad is going to come from adding one or two performance parts?
Usually nothing. However, you can do damage if it's not done properly.
Which is why I went to Jason. Which is why I went to someone who's worked on his vehicle, who's worked on other vehicles before.
And we'll be going over some of them other vehicles here in the future. But we're going to call it quits now. We've been going for quite a while, and you guys are probably getting a little bored. Thanks for watching. We don't have a title for this, so if you have anything that you'd like to help name this series that we will be doing,
check out the Outcast Car Club on YouTube. Check out the Suitor Review on YouTube. Those two channels are run by us in the club, but sometimes it's our own individual channels. This is on my personal channel for myself, but please, I'll be putting their links in the description so we can check them out. Hopefully we can get Jason back into a cheap suit, that way he can work on his vehicles.
Oh, I'm not doing no cheap suits in my vehicles.
It's the Suitor. Oh, this is an argument for another time. So we'll see everyone later.
Yeah, you guys, thanks for tuning in.
Bye.